Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Beth. And for today's video, it's kind of an interesting one. I'm basically doing a get ready with me for a date night that my husband and I have tonight. But the real focus I think is going to be on this new Estee Lauder collection, I think. So they came out with this Pure Color Highlight and Contour Matte Duo. And that is what that looks like. And they say that these are supposed to be hearts intertwined. So I think it's a Valentine's Day collection, and yes, it is nearing the end of August as I'm filming this. So I don't know if this is a super early February 2024 launch or a very late February 2023 launch. We're kind of about halfway. So kind of how you have Christmas in July, we're doing kind of Valentine's Day in August. So I couldn't resist picking this up and trying it out for you because it just seemed like such an odd launch in a lot of ways. So we'll talk about that in a moment. But yeah, I will be trying this out. And this also came with a brush, which I don't think they actually talked about on the website. So I'll be using that. And then there was also a lipstick that I picked up. I think there were 3 different shades and I picked up the shade 519 Whisper. So I did upload a little reel or short, I think on Instagram and YouTube potentially. So if you want to check that out, I'll try to link that for you as well. And then just the last thing, I got this little Estee Lauder perfume sample. I have to say the whole presentation and packaging was really nice and it shipped really quickly. So I purchased from Estee Lauder directly. I did film the unboxing, but I think the footage is just too long to really fit into a short or reel. So maybe I'll just insert it while I'm talking. But yeah, I was really impressed with that. And for a lot of people, I think Estee Lauder, aside from the Double Wear Foundation, is kind of a sleepy legacy brand. So to see them come out with something that I'm going to call the 69 blush was just amusing to me. So yeah, anyway, I have those, and keeping with the kind of romance Valentine's Day theme, I have some heart earrings in even. I thought I would just kind of pull out a lot of kind of recent things that I've hauled that I haven't really talked about or tried. So I have the Givenchy Prisme Libra powder in 3, which is the pink shade. So I'll be trying that. I also have these little quads from Viseart that I've never tried. So we have basically all of their Lotus quads, and I'm not sure whether the sale will still be live when I upload this, but they are running a sale currently, so if you wanted to pick up any of these, you could at a slight discount. But if you do miss it, don't worry, because they usually have at least 1 sale per season, I would say. So yeah, so I'll be picking out one of those, probably one of the pink ones. And I have the Natasha Denona concealer and corrector. I have the RMS sunscreen serum, the new Makeup Forever concealer. So I'll choose between that and Natasha Denona. And then I also have the Rosewood blush from Dior. So lots of fun things to try out on camera. And I will have timestamps down below if you'd like to jump ahead. And as far as detailed product information, I'll probably reserve that just for the Estee Lauder products because that was kind of the inspiration or focus of the video. And I'm just going to be using these Ulta under eye patches, I guess they're called. They have sodium hyaluronate and vitamin E. And I like these ones especially because they have a little bit of a textured fabric kind of feeling. And they are really cooling as well. But I find that some of the more foily ones just tend to kind of slide around, and I do like the hydration benefit of using these, but I also like that they help to catch any fallout. I guess I'll go ahead and use my Ulta Beauty primer. I have one from Viseart, but I think it might be a bit old, so that probably just needs to go in the garbage. So I just put a little bit on the back of my hand and then go in. I don't know that this is my absolute favorite primer ever, but it is a darn good one, especially for the price and especially for being at Ulta. And I am just going to do my eyes first, just in case there's any fallout. I also wanted to mention, I posted something on my community tab, I think, in YouTube, that today, August 19th, is my 12-year YouTube anniversary. So I created this YouTube channel persona, whatever you want to call it, 12 years ago. I think I had a channel just under like my personal name before that, but I wanted to create a username that indicated what I would be doing. So that was the birth of A Little Night Makeup, and if you haven't seen me mention it before, I just used that white shade in the Viseart Neutral Mattes palette, by the way. If you haven't heard me mention it, the origin of the channel name is because I am a huge fan of musical theater. In fact, my husband and I are going to see Moulin Rouge at the Kennedy Center next weekend. So I'm a huge fan of musical theater, so I wanted something that kind of reflected that in addition to my love of makeup. So I go way back on YouTube. There was a long stretch there where I wasn't really uploading regularly, just busy with work, or YouTube was just kind of a different beast at that point. So anyway, but yeah, these are the two kind of pink palettes that I'm choosing between. This one is Rosea Lotus, and this one is Sakura Lotus. Sakura is kind of having a bit of a moment now, actually. Again, being in the DC area, I have a lot of fond feelings for cherry blossoms, and I'm always excited when a new cherry blossom launch comes out. Laura Mercier just released one, and I did end up purchasing it, so you will see a Laura Mercier video on my channel coming up here. But I think I'm gonna go with the Rosea Lotus. It's a little bit more neutral, feels a little bit more summery, and starting out with that kind of taupe shade. Yeah, and I just saw not too long ago, in fact, I think it might have been my Jurassic Park video. The Profusion Jurassic Park collection was my 500th video, somewhere around there. And I know there are people who are like newer or relatively newer on the platform who have, I don't know, doubled the number of videos I have or close to it. So I think that kind of speaks to my upload schedule. So it's fine. I mean, I'm fine with having YouTube as a hobby, I guess. So taking that kind of more rosy shade, it is a hobby for sure. Just using that on this mini booster. I guess the way I look at it is it's a creative outlet. You know, it gives me kind of an excuse to buy more makeup than I otherwise would. Kind of a double-edged sword sometimes, in that you do kind of feel like you have to buy certain things to stay relevant, or I don't know. That's a whole nother kind of topic of conversation that I don't know that I want to get into in this video, but I guess what I'm trying to say is there are certain economic incentives that come with having a YouTube channel, but I definitely enjoy having health insurance and an employer-sponsored 401k and all of that. So, and especially like we've seen just how much social media can change in a relatively short amount of time. Like, I am a fairly risk-averse person, I would say. I think a lot of lawyers are in life. So anyway, and then that kind of more rosy shade, I'm going to start with it dry. I'm going to take it on a Rephr 28. Rephr is also having a sale at the moment. I think their brushes are like BOGO, like buy one get one half off or something like that. Maybe they're all 50% off. I don't know. So that's a decent amount of impact dry. I'm not expecting anything too crazy. I would say Viseart, I've talked about this in other videos, and I have kind of fully Viseart focused videos as well. Like you saw that all matte neutral palette, like I think in some ways in their, I think history is more like makeup artist focused. I think they have improved the quality of their shimmers, and they've come out with these little palettes that are more kind of for the consumer, but I think their matte shadows are what really shine. And my husband and I are going to a French restaurant as it so happens. We'd actually, okay, I've really picked up a lot of that kind of more of the lighter metallic. So we'll see how this does. Yeah, there's gonna be fallout if you really kind of dig into it. It so happens that it is restaurant week in Alexandria, Virginia, where I live. So they do a lot of like prefix menus and everything for the participating restaurants. So there's this new one that opened. It's a French brasserie type restaurant. It opened not too long ago. So we booked that to take advantage of the kind of special. And it just so happens that, you know, I'm doing this kind of date night look and it's my YouTube anniversary. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit more of that pink shade. I will say these are a little bit softer in terms of the pigmentation, like the depth and everything. So if you have super deep skin, I'm not sure how well these are going to do. I'm just kind of going for something kind of soft and romantic. Next week, when we're going to see Moulin Rouge, I found a video on YouTube where I guess the MAC Pro brand, they designed looks for the stage production of Moulin Rouge, and there are a lot of MAC products. So next week, I'm probably going to go a little bit more dramatic, do the classic red lip and everything. So we'll probably see that in a video. Okay, so when well, I guess I always forget to do this. I'm going to put it back on just for a second. Go ahead and do my eyeliner. Just my favorite Victoria Beckham liner in Cocoa. I did buy one of the new Laura Mercier Catline ones, whatever they're called. Since I was placing an order, I heard, I think Stephanie Marie really liked it. So we'll see how that one compares. And this is the BK208. Just sharpened this pencil, so I think it's coming off a little bit thicker than it normally does. And that it's more emollient, I guess. I just got a little bit right there. All right, I had to fuss with that a little bit off camera so I could have so I could have both hands free and have the light and everything. It's a little harder to do it just in a handheld mirror, but I think that's okay. And then for mascara, of course, my beloved Lights Camera Splashes. And these are the Surratt eyelash curlers. I think I prefer them to the Rephr ones, but I haven't tried their kind of newer release. I don't know if they've actually changed what they were like or if they just came out with another one. This particular tube might be getting a little bit long in the tooth. I think it's just starting to clump just a tad. Okay, so that's it for the eyes. Nothing crazy or dramatic, just something kind of soft and romantic. I'm not liking how this liner is looking right here. Okay, I think that's good enough. Okay, so now I will take off these little under eye things, and you can see where I did protect my skin from getting some mascara on it. And these aren't super wet, like I said, but what I like to do is, if I can kind of use it the way you would tape and just kind of wipe away any stray sparkle. And if that doesn't work, just take a makeup eraser. Okay, good enough. All right, so next up, let's use this RMS Supernatural Radiance Serum. The Viseart palettes, by the way, this was the first time I've used this one, but I've used their shadows and formulas for years, I guess, and I've used other little quads or petite fours, as they say. And this RMS like serum sunscreen type product, that might be a little bit too much, but I have also used this before. So some of these products are first impressions and some are products I've just been kind of using off camera. So this one I think has kind of a slight citrus scent to it, and it's not holding back on the glow for sure. I do have dry skin, so I am using this as my sunscreen today. I did my sunscreen kind of a while ago. And whatever's left over, I'll just go ahead and I guess put on my arms, my shoulders. I would put it, I guess, on my chest, but most of the chest is covered, so always good to have sun protection there anyway. And yeah, I did get my hair done yesterday too, so it's blonder and a little bit shorter than it was. Okay, so that is the RMS. I do like this. I will just quickly, I guess, compare it to the Kosas for you. I think I prefer the smell of the Kosas. So that's the RMS, and this is the Kosas. I was gonna film a reel using these and comparing them, but I just never got around to it. So that is the Kosas. The RMS is a little bit lighter for what it's worth, but I've been able to use the Kosas one just fine. I think the Kosas one has more of a rose, like floral scent, which personally I like, but if you're not into that, you might prefer the RMS. And I still have it in mind to do an RMS focused video at some point. I just haven't gotten around to it. Okay, so let's talk about Corrector. So I'm going to use the Natasha Denona Corrector. And again, I have used this before. This came out with her concealer launch, and I have it in the shade C1. So I've used the corrector and the concealer, and to be honest, they're not my favorite. I am planning kind of a, I don't know, concealer roundup type video. I don't know if it's the tone. I don't really like the way the concealer looks underneath my eyes, and this corrector is definitely getting more into like the peach tangerine side of things. I think I like ones that have a little bit more of kind of a pinky tone, but I will be using that pink Givenchy powder, so there's that. Okay, so next up, I usually like to do my base product. So I've still really been enjoying the Revlon Skin Caring Foundation in 109. So with all these new concealers coming out, I did purchase the Makeup by Mario foundation that a lot of people have kind of compared to this. But as far as like drugstore foundations, I haven't really found one that I like better. Okay, so just taking a damp beauty blender. Okay, so we are looking quite dewy and luminous, but we will set, so don't worry. And that's how much I still have on my hand, so I kind of went in with a light layer. And for the concealer, I have the shade Rosy Neutral 1, so that is the shade. Hopefully this will look okay. So try not to go in too heavy-handed with this. And this is the BK A506. It was interesting. I think, was it the Mario concealer? The brush he released looked kind of like this. And I think maybe the House Labs brush looked kind of like the Rare Beauty one. So I just kind of find it interesting to see what's trending in terms of concealers. So I'm just gonna take my beauty blender and just kind of lightly tap over that. Again, I don't want it to look too heavy. And I think that's it. I might just try to conceal that little spot. Normally I buy my concealers to be under eye concealers, and then I don't know, make them work on the face more or less. I think that did a decent job. So for the powder, I purchased some of these. Oh, got something on me. I'm looking very yellow. I don't know if it's because I'm just red here, or if there's something off. The color correction should be good, so I don't really know what's going on. I guess it could be the RMS. It's weird. Okay, so I'm gonna use one of these little puffs. I just got them in a set from Amazon, so they came in pink and black. Do I want to use black actually? I kind of like to use a sponge or a brush or whatever that's going to show the color. This one does come with a little puff. And this is one product that I haven't tried. So that is how and I think the idea is that you can just, not the biggest fan of loose powder, to be honest, especially when, I think I might use a brush to start off with, because I feel like I kind of want to swirl the colors together. Isn't that kind of the idea? I mean, tap off the excess. I think the idea behind this is that all the colors are supposed to kind of mix together, but I don't know why they, I don't know. I think it's kind of a gimmick, to be honest. All right, so concealer is looking decent. Let's see what happens when I set. Definitely takes down kind of the shine. I think before when I tried that Natasha Denona corrector and concealer, I feel like it just maybe made my eyes just look a bit crepey. So I don't know if using those under eye, see, this is the problem too. Like you just try to get it back in there and hope for the best, or just get a rub underneath you that you don't care about getting powder into. Yeah, I don't know if having those eye patches on really helped with the hydration level. Like it looks good now, but we'll see how it works. And just to give you kind of a heads up, I'm not going to do a dedicated wear test, but it's about 4, and I'm thinking we'll probably be home 8-ish maybe. So I'll have this makeup on for a decent amount of time. And what do I want to use for powder? I guess I'll just use my Charlotte Tilbury. So this is a BK 103, I think. It's technically a bronzer brush, but I really like using it for powder. I like just kind of being able to stamp the powder in, even though, like I said, I do have dry skin, but it's August. I don't know if it's the monitor or what, but I'm just looking a lot pinker on this part of my body than I was expecting. Okay, so that is done. I guess I'll have to try the RMS and the Kosas again and pay more attention. So one thing I like to do underneath the eyes to prevent creasing as well is to take one of the matte shadows I used. I'm just going to use that kind of brown one and run that right underneath. You can also do this with a face powder if you don't want any extra definition. So I'm not trying to go for anything too dramatic and crazy, just a little bit of something extra there. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and do my brows. So I'll just take, what do I have? The Benefit Gimme Brow in the shade 1. I feel like this is also on its last legs. Okay. So I've powdered and I've set everything. So let's go ahead and talk about this Estee Lauder product. So like we've established, it came out in August. The timing of the Viseart palettes was also a little odd to me because, I mean, it's a Lotus theme, so I guess it encompasses more than just like cherry blossoms. I'm not sure what a Rosea Lotus is, but I know in July there's an aquatic garden in DC that has its like Water Lotus Festival, so I guess that makes as much sense as anything. Okay, so let's talk about the Estee Lauder. So when I saw this, I think I posted it on my Instagram stories, and I think I said something like, I have thoughts. And those thoughts are a few things. We talked about the timing, which is odd. The packaging, which maybe your mind isn't in the gutter like mine, but it definitely looks like 69 to me. And they describe it as being, show everlasting love for yourself or someone else with this beautiful limited edition compact. 2 9s. I'm not sure why they made a big deal of the number 9, but anyway.
The number of the day, favorite one of mine. The number of the day is 9.
2 9s become 1 heart in this lovely design. So this is the limited edition Pure Color Highlight and Contour Matte Duo. And you get the shades Mocha Linen, which they call a warm milk tea, and Sheer Chiffon. They call it a soft glow. So the timing, the package design, the fact that there is just 1 shade and it looks like this. So I think we could have done with at least 1 or 2 more shades. The price I think is pretty good for a department store brand, $32 for 0.29 ounces. And you're getting 2 different shades, 8.5 grams. This is made in China. So I did already swatch these. You can see it does have a mirror and it does have a magnetic closure. The top feels like, I don't know, it's some kind of plastic that's raised. So packaging is nice. And like I said, I went back and checked and I don't think they mentioned anywhere that you would be getting a brush. So for this, $32 I think is a more than fair price. So yeah, it just seemed really odd. So this, I think both of these are synthetic. Double-sided brushes are not my favorite, but it has, I guess, the sculpting side. I mean, they're soft bristles, but you know, I didn't buy it for the brush. I didn't even know the brush existed, so I'll use it, but it wasn't kind of a selling feature. This looks like it was also created especially for this product. You can see there. And that is also made in China. So I think that's everything I wanted to cover. I just couldn't resist actually purchasing this, I guess, because it just seemed odd. Okay, so I'm gonna take this side and go in. It does have, I guess, a fair bit of kick up. That's kind of what it looks like just stamped. So I'm so used to using cream contours recently. I think I do prefer them. And you saw that I did kind of set my base, but it's definitely giving kind of a defined jawline, that's for sure. So everything I mentioned about this just being such an odd release that I couldn't resist trying out, like there was that, but there was also the fact that the contour shade especially was just kind of an attractive looking color to me. So yeah, I don't know, not sure this would be what I would immediately reach for, or at least not with this brush. I'm gonna, well, let's use the smaller end. I don't think they really specify. This, as far as I can tell, is just kind of a matte highlighter, which, especially if you are going for like a dewy skin look, almost has kind of the reverse effect. But if you do like, I mean, I could have used that, I guess, to set my under eyes maybe. So yeah, normally when you add highlighter to your cheek, you want it to have that kind of more luminous, wet look effect almost. So just trying this other side. Definitely a softer brush. So I would say this is definitely for someone who wants kind of a more sculpted look, especially them being kind of matte and cool toned. Especially for like a limited edition product. It would have made more sense if they just made like, I don't know, kind of a universal pretty champagne highlighter or something. Like you could still have the embossing and the pretty compact, but I think that kind of product would probably be more kind of consumer friendly, especially if you're giving it as a gift or something. I feel like it almost feels more like a pro makeup artist product. Like the texture, the shade choices, the fact that you have like just a matte white highlighter. It's just not as common, I don't think, in consumer makeup as it is in pro makeup. So I don't regret buying it, but it certainly was an interesting choice. And I'm already looking kind of shiny on my forehead. I'm just gonna add a little bit more powder, especially after I kind of mattified the cheek so much. And I was going to use a luminous bronzer. I have this one from Flower Beauty that I was going to try out, but I think I'm going to use this one that I picked up from Kevyn Aucoin instead. So this is the Neo Bronzer in Sunrise Light, and it looks like it's a nice rosy bronzer. The whole thing is smaller than I thought it would be. And if you can tell, it has more of a shimmer side and more of a matte side. So I'll just kind of swatch the matte and the shimmer. And I'll just swatch this kind of more contour shade for good measure. I have the highlighter here on my other finger. Yeah, definitely more getting into that kind of olivey green, ochre type territory. Okay, so I'm going to take my very large Rephr 22, and I'm trying just to kind of, ooh, that kicked up some. I got this on sale. You know, Good Morning America has those like flash sales. I had Kevyn Aucoin, and I feel like I'm always on the hunt for good kind of rosy bronzers. So I saw this and decided to pick it up. So I'm just kind of taking it down on the cheeks as well. I like it. It's a little dark maybe, but the tone is nice. And they do, I think, have other shades in this product as well. Okay, so I think that's good for the bronzer. Let's go ahead and go into the blush, and then I'll circle back for the lipstick. So I picked up the shade Rosewood, and I even swatched this in store before I purchased it, and I don't know if it was just hard panned or what, but I wasn't super impressed with the product. I had purchased this brush is not clean, so I had purchased the whatever the pink one is called, and I didn't love it. I don't know. I don't really love that super. I think that's pretty though. That super like bright pink on me usually. I think this is working, especially with this brush. This is the number 5 from Rougher. It's my go-to blush brush. Okay, so I'm happy with that. I was worried, like I said, but I think maybe it was just hard pan because too many people were swatching it in store. I don't know that this is anything super special that you need to go out and spend however much it was. I think I had like an Ulta coupon, but it is pretty. I know that cherry one a lot of people are loving this summer. And then I'm just going to add some lower lash mascara before we finish it up with the lips. The downside to doing mascara before you like finish your face is that if you want to use a setting spray, you're a little bit limited unless you want to risk your makeup running. So it looks good. It's definitely like a heavier face of makeup with the powder and everything than maybe I wanted, but that's fine. All right, so let's talk about the lipstick. So same collection. I don't even know if they have this in their normal formula. I think this is the like crystal lipstick or something. But yeah, same kind of packaging, and yeah, they do have Pure Color Crystal. So this retails for $36, and that was, I think, what was especially confusing to me because usually I think of, oh, this is sold out. That's interesting. I wonder, I mean, it's still on the website, and the contour, I think, is still available, so it's not like they pulled it. Yeah, it looks like the crystal lipstick, like they have one permanent shade called 564. I was just wondering if this was a color in the permanent line or if it was something new. Interesting. And they say it is an innocent nude with a warmer pink undertone. Okay, so this has a magnetic case, which is very satisfying. And I also like how the bullet itself has ribs. It just seems very satisfying and vintage kind of. This one looks like it actually got a little bit pushed in the tube. I did swatch this before on my hand, but I haven't worn it. And it has the EL in the top bit of the lipstick. I'm just going to go in straight from the bullet and see how it goes. It was very creamy on my arm. And I think, I don't know, I think it's like a sweet floral. So this is just like a nice kind of everyday color. Maybe that's why it sold out. So nice and flattering on the lips. I could probably leave it like that, or I could add in some lip liner if I wanted. The eyes are still reading a little bit pinker. I just grabbed this Beauty Pie, what are you called? Rummy Pink. It's a very like comfortable type formula though. In fact, it's almost too kind of creamy to put a lip liner on top of. But I know that's one of Lisa Eldridge's favorite techniques. All right. I think that's good enough. I'll probably have to reapply later anyway. And that's kind of set in. So that's the finished look using these somewhat strange products, the strange launch from Estee Lauder. And I did, like I said, just kind of pull in other pinkish products that I've been sitting on that I haven't really had occasion to film with. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful or interesting. Let me know what you guys are up to in these dog days of summer. It's going to be Labor Day before we know it. And until next time, I hope you guys are all doing well and staying safe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.